Have you ever said something in the heat of the moment and instantly wished you could take it back? That feeling, that sting of regret, reminds us of a truth most people overlook. Sometimes silence carries more strength than words. In a world that tells us to speak up, to defend, to argue, and to always have something to say, there is a hidden power in learning when to hold back. Silence is not weakness. Silence is not avoidance. Silence is wisdom in motion. It is the pause that lets you rise above chaos. It is the decision to control yourself when the world tries to control you. And if you can master this, you will gain an edge in life that most people never discover. Think about how many conflicts are fueled, not by actions, but by words thrown carelessly into the air. Arguments spiral because pride takes over, because someone wants the last word. Yet the strongest people, the ones who command true respect, are often those who know when not to respond. They understand that silence speaks louder than any comeback ever could. It communicates self-control, discipline, and focus. It shows that you refuse to let anger or ego decide your future. That is a level of strength few ever reach, but it is a strength you can learn. Silence is not just about avoiding conflict. It's about creating space. Space to think, to listen, to understand. Most people are so busy talking, defending, explaining, that they never truly hear. They miss the wisdom hidden in quiet moments. But if you choose silence, you train yourself to listen deeper, to others, to your own heart, to the voice inside you that already knows what path to take. In those quiet moments, you find clarity that noise can never give you. The world moves fast, and it pressures you to respond instantly. Someone criticizes you, you want to fire back. Someone doubts you, you want to prove them wrong. Someone disrespects you, you want to defend yourself immediately. But what if you didn't? What if you chose patience over reaction? What if you let silence do the talking? Suddenly the power shifts. You are no longer controlled by someone else's words. You are no longer a prisoner of impulse. You become the master of your energy, the guardian of your peace. And here's why this matters. Your future depends on the choices you make in the smallest moments. The words you speak, the battles you choose, the energy you give away, all of it builds the life you are living right now. If you learn the discipline of silence, you start protecting your dreams from unnecessary battles. You start saving your energy for the things that truly matter. And most importantly, you start commanding respect, not through volume, but through presence. People will notice, they will feel your strength without you ever needing to say a word. So listen closely. If you stay with me until the end, you will discover how to use silence not as an escape, but as a weapon. How to use it to heal yourself, to outgrow distractions, and to walk with the unshakable confidence of someone who knows they cannot be shaken. That is the reward waiting for you. The power to stop reacting, to start choosing, and to live with a strength that no one can take away. Silence is a choice, and like every choice in life, it carries consequences. When you choose silence with intention, you step into a space of power most people never access. You stop handing your emotions over to situations that don't deserve them. You stop letting other people's opinions dictate your actions, and in that space, you create the freedom to rise above. The truth is, not every argument is worth fighting. Not every attack deserves your attention. Not every critic needs a reply. When you realize this, you begin to see that your silence protects your energy, your focus, and your future. Think about it. The moments when you lash out, the times you feel compelled to prove yourself, what happens afterward? The anger fades, but the words remain. The regret lingers. You lose time, you lose peace, and sometimes you even lose opportunities. But when you remain silent, you keep your power intact. You hold on to your peace like treasure. That restraint is not weakness. That restraint is leadership. It shows that you are guided by vision, not by ego. And that alone separates you from the crowd, because most people cannot resist the urge to react. Silence also builds mystery. It commands attention. When you stop feeling the need to explain yourself, you stop giving people access to your weaknesses. You don't have to justify your dreams. You don't have to argue about your vision. Let the results speak. Let your growth speak. Let your silence be the proof that your energy is invested in building, not debating. People will notice the difference. They may not understand it at first, but they will feel it. And in a world full of noise, being the one who carries calm creates an unshakable presence. There is also another layer most people overlook. Silence teaches patience. It teaches you to wait, to observe, to let the truth unfold without forcing it. In every situation, patience is power. Rushing to speak, rushing to defend, rushing to argue, that comes from fear. But silence comes from trust. Trust in yourself, trust in your vision, trust that you don't need to fight every battle because your path speaks louder than any words ever could. That kind of trust builds unbreakable confidence, and that confidence makes you unstoppable. But understand this clearly, silence is not about hiding. It's not about suppressing your voice. It's about timing. It's about wisdom. It's about knowing that words once spoken cannot be taken back and therefore must be used with precision. The person who speaks only when it matters is the person everyone listens to. The voice that breaks the silence after patience carries weight because people know it is not careless. It is deliberate. And that is how leaders are made. Not by speaking the most, but by speaking with purpose. This is the gift waiting for you when you learn to master silence. You will stop wasting energy on distractions. You will stop fighting battles that don't matter. You will stop giving power to people who never deserved it. Instead, you will channel all of that energy into growth, into discipline, into building something greater. And the world will feel it. They will feel it in the calm you carry, in the respect you command, in the quiet strength that cannot be shaken. That is the true power of silence. It transforms you into someone who no longer reacts to life you created. When you begin to live with the strength of silence, you also begin to understand the value of your inner voice. The world is filled with noise, opinions from strangers, judgments from friends, endless chatter from social media, constant pressure to speak and respond. That noise can drown out your own truth if you let it. But when you choose silence, you clear away the distractions, you make space to hear yourself, and in that quiet space, you discover answers you have been searching for all along. The guidance you need is already within you, but you can only hear it when you stop letting the world speak louder than your own soul. This is why silence is more than just restraint. It is a form of alignment. It aligns you with your values, your vision, and your goals. It forces you to slow down and ask yourself, does this reaction serve me? Does this argument move me closer to my purpose? Does this conversation deserve my energy? Or is it stealing from my future? Most people never pause to ask these questions. They live in reaction, trapped in cycles of defending, explaining, and fighting battles that take them nowhere. But when you choose silence, you step out of the cycle. You start making decisions from clarity instead of emotion. That is how you move with purpose. There's also strength in learning that silence can be louder than any argument. When someone doubts you, silence lets your results do the talking. When someone criticizes you, silence proves that their words cannot shake your foundation. When someone underestimates you, silence allows your growth to become undeniable. Words may win temporary battles, but results win wars. And silence gives you the discipline to focus on results instead of wasting energy proving yourself to people who may never believe in you anyway. That is the freedom silence gives you. The freedom to stop seeking validation and start creating transformation. Psychologists say that most conflicts escalate because people feel unheard. But here is the truth. You don't need to fight to be heard. You don't need to shout to be respected. Respect comes from consistency, from action, from living your truth so clearly that people cannot ignore it. Silence supports this. It teaches you that your worth is not found in someone else's opinion, but in the life you are building every single day. And when you know your worth, you no longer feel the urge to prove it. You no longer fall into the trap of endless debates that lead nowhere. Instead, you conserve your energy for growth. You let your discipline speak, your work speak, your transformation speak. Imagine living with that level of control. Imagine waking up each day no longer feeling drained by arguments, no longer wasting hours defending yourself, no longer handing your energy to negativity. Imagine how much more you could accomplish if you use that energy to build, to create, to focus on the life you want. This is not imagination. It is a reality that becomes yours the moment you embrace silence as a tool, not a weakness. The calm you carry will become your strength. The quiet you choose will become your foundation, and people will see it. They will see that you are not distracted by noise, that you move with purpose, that you walk with a confidence that doesn't need to shout. That is how silence transforms you into someone unstoppable. Silence is discipline in its purest form. It is the ability to master yourself when every part of you wants to react, when your emotions beg for release, when your ego demands to be heard. To stay quiet in those moments is not easy. It requires strength. It requires self-control. And that is why silence builds character. Every time you choose not to react, you sharpen your willpower. Every time you hold back unnecessary words, you strengthen your focus. And over time, that discipline becomes a shield that protects you from distraction, from regret, from the endless cycle of giving power to things that do not matter. This discipline spills into every part of your life. When you master silence, you also master patience. You stop rushing decisions just to satisfy your impulses. You learn to pause, to reflect, to wait for the right moment. That pause changes everything. It gives you the clarity to make better choices, the wisdom to see the bigger picture, and the courage to walk away from situations that would have trapped you in the past. In a world that glorifies speed, choosing silence slows you down just enough to see clearly. And clarity is power. With clarity, you stop chasing everything and start building what actually matters. There's another truth you need to understand. Silence is not only about holding back words, it is about mastering energy. Every word you speak carries energy. Every reaction costs you something. Most people waste their energy proving themselves, fighting arguments, and defending against opinions that mean nothing. That wasted energy could have been invested into growth, into building, into becoming. But silence allows you to redirect that energy inward. It keeps you fueled for the battles that actually matter. It ensures that when you do speak, your words are aligned with your vision and backed by the power of discipline. That is why silence is never empty. It is full of strength, full of intention, full of potential. When you carry silence with you, people notice. They see that you are not easily provoked, not easily shaken, not easily distracted. That composure builds respect. Respect is not earned by shouting louder than everyone else. Respect is earned by demonstrating control when others lose theirs. Respect is earned by standing firm in your truth without needing to explain it to anyone. Silence gives you that respect because it shows that you are unmovable. And when people realize they cannot control your reactions, they begin to see you as someone who is truly powerful. But the greatest impact of silence happens inside of you. When you stop filling every space with words, you create room for growth. You start hearing your own thoughts with clarity. You start understanding your emotions instead of being controlled by them. You start building a relationship with yourself that is rooted in trust and strength. And once you master that inner relationship, no outside force can break you. You no longer need validation because you validate yourself. You no longer need to prove your worth because you know your worth. That is the transformation silence brings. It shapes you into someone who no longer wastes energy on noise, but channels everything into growth, purpose, and unstoppable forward movement. Silence is a form of power few truly understand. It is not the absence of communication. It is the presence of control. It is the choice to conserve your energy, to protect your peace, to rise above the chaos that drags most people down. When you speak without thinking, when you react without control, you give away your power. You hand over your influence to circumstances and to people who have no stake in your growth. But when you practice silence, you reclaim that power. You decide what deserves your energy, what deserves your focus, and what deserves your voice. That is how leaders are made, by knowing when to speak and when to stand firm in quiet confidence. The strength of silence also lies in its ability to reveal truth. When you stop reacting impulsively, when you stop filling every moment with noise, the world begins to show you what really matters. You start to see who is supportive and who is draining. You start to understand what goals are worth your effort and which distractions are holding you back. Silence acts like a filter. It strips away the unnecessary, leaving only clarity. And clarity allows you to move with precision. It allows you to channel your energy into action that aligns with your purpose, not into battles that diminish it. That is the invisible power that silence gives you, the ability to see clearly and act decisively. Silence also teaches resilience. When others provoke, when criticism comes, when challenges arise, staying silent forces you to endure without losing yourself. Every unspoken word, every moment you resist reacting, strengthens your mind and your spirit. You develop an inner armor that no insult, no setback, and no doubt can penetrate. And as you grow stronger in this discipline, you begin to realize that the world will test you constantly. But your response, your silence, can make you untouchable. Resilience born from silence becomes a force that shapes your life, giving you the ability to stay focused on your path, no matter the storms around you. Another crucial aspect of silence is its effect on relationships and influence. When you listen more than you speak, you gain insight that most people miss. You learn not just what is said, but what is meant. You understand motivations, intentions, and hidden truths. That knowledge gives you an advantage because it allows you to respond with wisdom rather than emotion. People are drawn to those who listen deeply. They trust those who respond thoughtfully. And when you wield silence strategically, your words carry more weight, your presence commands attention, and your influence grows exponentially. That is how silence transforms ordinary interactions into moments of power. The most profound change, however, happens within yourself. Silence allows you to connect with your purpose at a level few ever reach. It forces you to confront your fears, your doubts, and your insecurities without distraction. It gives you the space to understand who you truly are and who you want to become. That self-awareness is a catalyst for transformation. Once you embrace the discipline of silence, you stop reacting to life's chaos and start designing your life with intention. Your energy, your focus, your voice all become tools for growth, achievement, and unstoppable forward motion. Silence is not just a choice. It is the foundation of the life you are meant to build. The mastery of silence is not about avoiding life. It is about commanding it. Every word you speak carries weight, and every reaction you give has consequences. Most people throw their words and emotions into the world carelessly, letting anger, fear, and insecurity dictate their actions. They wake up exhausted from battles they didn't need to fight. But when you learn the power of silence, you take control of your energy. You stop giving life away to arguments, distractions, and people who drain your spirit. You conserve your strength for the moments that matter, the opportunities that move you forward, and the goals that define your legacy. Silence is also a test of courage. It takes courage to resist the urge to respond, to stay calm when provoked, to remain composed when the world expects you to react. Many people equate courage with confrontation, but true courage is found in restraint. It is found in the moments when you choose thoughtfulness over impulse, patience over anger, and wisdom over pride. Every time you choose silence, you prove to yourself that your strength is internal, that your confidence is not dependent on recognition, and that your focus cannot be shaken by the opinions of others. That courage becomes a shield that protects your peace and amplifies your presence in ways words never could. Another truth about silence is that it amplifies focus. The less time you spend reacting, the more time you have to build. Every unnecessary conversation avoided, every argument unengaged, every validation you refuse to seek adds energy to your purpose. That energy becomes fuel for action, progress, and growth. You start to see the difference between temporary distractions and lasting results. Silence is not emptiness, it is concentration. It allows you to see clearly, act decisively, and create impact without spreading yourself thin. The person who masters this knows that success is measured by what is built, not by what is said. Silence also deepens your connection to yourself. The more you practice it, the more you learn to listen to your own intuition, to understand your emotions, and to identify your true priorities. Life will always pull at you with noise, but silence gives you the clarity to filter the unnecessary from the essential. It is in those quiet moments that you uncover your vision, your values, and the path that aligns with who you are meant to become. Without this connection, life feels chaotic, driven by reactions rather than intention. With it, every step you take is deliberate, and every decision strengthens the foundation of your future. Finally, silence builds unshakable respect. People are drawn to those who do not react to every provocation, who do not fight every battle, and who carry themselves with calm authority. That respect is not demanded, it is earned. It grows naturally when your presence alone communicates discipline, self-control, and purpose. Silence allows your actions to speak louder than words, letting your results and integrity define you. When you master this, you no longer need to prove yourself to anyone. Your focus, your energy, and your determination become your statement. That is the transformative power of silence. It turns restraint into strength, patience into influence, and presence into unstoppable force. Every moment you resist the urge to react, you are shaping a version of yourself that is untouchable. Silence is the discipline that transforms impulsive energy into intentional.